Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My microphone is in the way of the camera. I know you're probably thinking, that doesn't look very good. So the whole point of this video is basically focusing on makeup that looks good in person rather than on a camera or on photos. I mean, there's still photographs beautifully, but it's focusing on ways you can tweak your makeup routine just to make it look super smooth. I have a full coverage matte foundation on. I am like the queen of dry skin. There's little tips and tricks that I show in this video on how to prep your skin, how to mix a little something in with your foundation that will make it look like this but allow it to last as long as your favorite matte foundation would. I don't even have highlighter on. That is all this blush, this bronzer, and the prep that we did before. So bear in mind, I've got 5 huge lights in front of me that accentuate every single pore on my face, okay? This makeup is specifically for people who want to look good in real life, who want to learn how to do makeup to look good instead of like learning Instagram makeup, because they are two very different things. So don't ever compare your skin texture, how your makeup looks to those of these Instagram makeup people. And yeah guys, I really hope you like this video. Please give this a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Also, I will link my Instagram up here and down below so you guys can go check it out. I've been doing a lot more IGTV videos, which are essentially like 2 or 3 minute long tutorials, and they are so much fun to do. Like, I loved doing it. That was a long intro, so let's get straight into it. Prepare yourself for how shit I look in the next clip. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with brows. You can pretty much do just like little tweaks that will really make a big difference on how your brows look in real life and make sure they look good and not blocky. If you guys have watched my channel, you know that I love the Got To Be Glued hair gel. Now, it can be quite fusty for like an everyday look getting the gel from here. So what I do is I get an empty clear brow gel and I literally just squeeze some in here. I know it looks disgusting, okay, but I promise this is just because it had like brown on it from my last time I did my brows. Okay, so all I'm doing is brushing through this clear brow gel just a little bit. So as you can see, just putting that little bit of brow gel has lifted my brow hairs. So this brow gel will literally keep them in place all day, but if you don't have access to like the Got To Be Glue hair gel, the Benefit 24-hour brow setter thing is just as good. It's obviously a lot more expensive, which is why I use the other one, but I'll use this one as well to show you. Pretty much does the same thing. They're both clear gels with a really high holding retention. Is that a thing? Okay, it is now. So on days where I want a really natural brow, I might not even fill them in. I might just conceal under them, because for me that sharpens them enough for it to be like snatched. For this, what I do recommend is grabbing a concealer that is almost your skin shade, maybe a little bit lighter, but nothing too light. So this way it will look like a harsh white line under your brows. I'm just grabbing a really small bit of concealer and I'm gonna put it under this. This is good as well. Like, I've just plucked my brows, so it's good to sort of cover any redness. I sort of only sharpen up like the outer ends. Like, the front of my brows are already quite defined. It's just like the tail that I like to define a little bit. So I've changed my makeup routine quite a lot because I feel like makeup for Insta and makeup for real life are so different. For me, the base is like the most important. I've got loads of discoloration, like my under eyes, like hyperpigmentation, which is slowly going away. I've got like red cheeks, redness around my nose, hyperpigmentation around my mouth, like it's a mess. I've got the whole shebang, and I obviously like, I want to cover it up without looking cakey, without emphasizing any dryness. I've got very dry skin. So first you want to prep your skin with any moisturizer. This is the one that I have at hand, so I'm using this one today, but like, I already did my skincare this morning. Bring it under your eyes. I just prefer like a thinner moisturizer when I'm doing this sort of look. Something that I've really been loving is MAC Strobe cream. Now, I know this is like, oh, I've got cream in my hair. This is literally ancient and like everyone and their mother has used it, but oh, this has been in my suitcase and it's just like exploded. I like to put it just like on my cheeks. This might seem like a weird placement, but basically I'm putting it anywhere where I feel like my makeup looks like it clings to places. Any glowy primer, because I'm going in with a bit more of a matte foundation. I don't want to look matte. The only reason I'm using a more matte foundation is because they last longer. So because I'm going to go in with a matte foundation, I don't want a super full coverage foundation either. So I'm going to grab a pot concealer. You want to make sure that it is a pot concealer and not a liquid one. This is the CYO concealer, but it's in the shade Fair, so it's a bit light for me. And I'm just going to pat this into the areas where I want a bit of coverage. I like it because I feel like I can cover where I want without having to use a super full coverage foundation. Now, this would help if this was my shade. Something you need to remember is if it's the daytime, you need to wear SPF. Like, there's no ifs or buts. You need to wear it, okay? I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation in Golden Beige. Now, this is the original. This is not the dewy one, and I know you're thinking like, you've got dry skin, what are you doing? So this actually is a really good trick. So you can get hyaluronic acid serum. So you have the ordinary. I use the Inkey list because I've lost like my ordinary one. But basically I put 2 drops of this with my foundation, and it literally will keep the coverage of a full coverage foundation, but make it not look cakey. So I'm going to show you. And then obviously the more of this you put, the more glowy it will be, the more hydrating it will look. So I'm going to start off with 2 drops. And you just want to mix it in. So not all foundations will mix well with this because it is water-based, obviously. I've tried it on about 4 or 5 foundations and they work. So as you can see, we've tapped over that concealer and it's covered it without blending it out, so you haven't lost the coverage. Now, this is a pretty full coverage foundation, but as you can see, this like hyaluronic acid has made it look like skin, but you really don't need a lot, because if you conceal your problem areas before, when you get to like the rest of your face, really all you're doing is putting foundation to even your skin tone. So something that I like to say is I put foundation on my nose, but I literally will put like the smallest amount, because your nose is the first area that will start to break up when you sweat, as well as your upper lip. So I use that cream concealer, but I pretty much avoid putting like actual like foundation onto there. And then on my forehead, at the right age of 20, I have forehead lines already, and I know they're just expression lines, but I like to put literally such a small amount of foundation on my forehead because it will settle. So the less you put, the less foundation can settle. And then literally there's like very little left. I just sort of bring it down my neck. If you know me, but you don't even have to know me to see how bad my under eyes are, I used to pack on so much concealer on an everyday basis for school and everything because they are very, very exaggerated. But recently I've been using 2 concealers. I'm using them very differently. I did this in my Instagram IGTV, which I posted yesterday. You should go check that out. I'll leave my Instagram down below. So this is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. It's so good. It's like a medium coverage, which is what you want. You don't want a full coverage concealer because that will just look too much when the rest of your skin looks really like breathable and natural. If you have a super full coverage under eye, it's just gonna look weird. This is the shade Honey, which is like a pink undertone, and I put this in the like darker spots, which is like my inner corners. Then I grab the shade Custard, which is everyone's favorite shade, and I'll put this there. I have darkness all the way around. I'm not one of those people that only has it like on the inner corners. I've got it everywhere. And then you can use this to sort of conceal any other places that you want. I'm gonna let the one under my eyes sit a little bit, but I'm gonna use the same brush I used for my foundation. Now you can spray this. You can spray it with a hydrating mist. This is the Mario Badescu one. I don't really like it, but it's the only hydrating mist I have at the moment. So honestly, just using that little bit of hydration will allow the concealer to blend out without looking cakey. I put concealer in the center of my face to balance out the light from this one. And then I blend my concealer on my nose because I like to contour my nose. I've got a massive freaking nose. When I blend it with my finger, it melts the product in a lot more, and then it just looks a lot more, almost like there's nothing there. I have been loving a sort of fluffy packed brush. brush rather than a beauty blender, you can literally use any sort of brush like this. And I'll just start off by patting it in place. Now what this is going to do is it's going to stop the product from going everywhere basically, because you want to keep the coverage where you've put it. Maybe on camera this will not look. Now when I get to the ends, you can use the same brush obviously. I'll use this to sort of bring my concealer here. So you don't want to be swiping because that's going to like move the product. This concealer is a hydrating formula. It's creamy, it's not drying at all, which is what you want to go for. I know you're probably thinking like, but we want it to last. NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer is super long wearing. Now we're gonna set our under eyes. I'm using the good old Mercier powder. I'm grabbing the Real Techniques, I think this is the setting brush, loading my brush, like pressing it into it and then dusting off until you literally don't see anything, and then I'm just pressing it in, and I'm only pressing it on like my immediate under eye, so just there. I'm not going lower. I set my lids a little bit because they get oily. This routine is really good for mature skin as well, because people that have mature skin and people that have dry skin suffer with the same things: creasing, fine lines, and loss of elasticity. If you have oily skin, be grateful because you will get wrinkles a lot later in life. I don't set the rest of my face, I only set my smile lines. By doing this, it just prevents my makeup setting in them. Now that we've done that, it's onto blush, contour. I love a good cream blush, a good cream contour, but let's be honest, when it comes to durability, I don't feel cream blushes last on my skin as much. I'm going to use powder just because I feel like more people will have a powder bronzer than a cream bronzer, so I feel like that's more responsible of me. Now the trick with bronzer is literally to just really slowly build it up. For an everyday look, you don't want to be like overly bronzed. So as you can see, I'm dusting literally the smallest amount of bronzer. Maybe when you've got like flash Instagram lights and all that stuff and you take a photo, you look washed out, but in real life this is enough color to be like. And I also used that same bronzer that we used on our nose and our cheeks on my eyes to add a bit of depth and also to add a bit of like cohesiveness to the face. We are going to put blush. I love blush. I tried this blush out in my last IGTV. I'd never tried it before, and it's this NYX Sweet Peach blush and I'm obsessed with it. It's literally got this like glowy sheen, almost like a highlighter. I love a good cream blush. Honestly, cream blushes are my favorite, but if you're looking for something that's going to last on a super hot day, you can use a cream blush and then set it with a really good setting spray. But then again, I feel like it's destined to fade throughout the day. I'm just using a really small amount of a brown brow pencil, super light-handed. That's it. And then use the same brow pencil. You can use a brown eyeliner, a brown pomade to just do a little tiny wing. I got a lash lift and tint, which basically means I don't have to do much to my eyelashes except like brush them out. So I am going to put outer corner lashes. Now I know you're thinking like, Julia, this is supposed to be like a simple, yes, but it's going to look amazing in person, I promise you. So you want to cut off the first 3 or 4 pieces, clusters, whatever you call them, I don't know, but from the inner corner, because if you cut from the outer corner, the pieces that you will have will be huge and look so drastically different to your real lashes. I like to put mascara on only because I'm putting outer edge lashes. If not, I wouldn't. So if I put mascara on, the outer edge lashes will just look like an extension of my eye. Do you see what I mean? It just looks like the most natural thing ever. Then you can press your lashes together with this. Again, I'm just going to clamp them together. When it comes to lips, you can do anything. I'm not here to tell you what lipstick looks good in person at all. But I do always recommend to use lip liner. That will just ensure that your lipstick always looks really tidy. Tidy? Is that the word? I don't know. Just really clean. I've really been loving this LA Girl lip liner in the shade Sugar and Spice. For me, it's that perfect nudie brown, and when I overline, I only overline my cupid's bow. I don't overline like the sides of my lip. I'm gonna use this Makeup Revolution lip cream in the shade Cream Muse, and I'm just gonna tap it in the center. We're gonna finish off by setting our face with a setting spray. You can use your favorite setting spray, but honestly, if I can recommend anything out of this entire video, it's to use Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. We are done. We look super glowy. We look very full coverage, but yet we don't look cakey. We don't look like we're wearing a shit ton of makeup, but we've covered everything we want to cover, and we look glowy, sculpted, bronzed without it looking heavy in real life. What is cakiness? I don't even know how. I would love if you could please give this a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. I will link my Instagram down below as well, so you guys can check out any like IGTVs that I've done, because I'm really starting to like them and I want to do a lot more. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye.